Okay, today we're going to work on a poetry selection. And we can see here that we have the genre is poetry. And to go over what poetry is, I want you to follow along as I read. Poetry is a creative expression of language, usually written to entertain or express feelings. And so as we read this today, I want you to think about how do you see that this is written in that way to entertain or express feelings? Many poems have rhythm and rhyme, much like music. So they're going to have a beat. And so as I read that, you'll see that each stanza is going to have its own kind of beat or rhythm to it. Poems use imagery or sensory language that helps the reader picture the way something looks, sounds, feels, tastes, and smells. And as you read Sing a Song of People, try to picture what the poet is describing. And we know as good readers that we picture what we're reading in our brains and we try to create that, what we call imagery within our brains, create that picture. So as I read through this, I'm going to be myself thinking about the picture and creating that image in my brain. And I want you as the reader to be doing the same thing. The poem is Sing a Song of People by Lois Lenski. Sing a song of people walking fast or slow, people in the city, up and down they go. People on the sidewalk, people on the bus, people passing, in back and front of us. People on the subway, underneath the ground, people riding taxis, round and round and round. People with their hats on, going in the doors. People with umbrellas, when it rains and pours. People in tall buildings and in stores below. Riding elevators, up and down they go. People walking singly. People in a crowd. People saying nothing. People talking loud. People laughing, smiling. Grumpy people too. People who just hurry and never look at you. Okay, so as I read that, I know for myself, I was creating images in my brain. I could really see that city of people, and I could imagine everything that was going on. And I could also hear that rhythm. And one thing that really helped with that were those rhyming words. They really connected that rhythm. So over here, we're going to think about it. And how can you tell that Sing a Song of People is a poem and not a story? We need to think about that. Now, one way that I know this is a poem and not a story is that this isn't really, there's not a main character. There's not a beginning, a middle, and an end of it. There's not a problem and a solution. It's just kind of describing something. It's just talking about all different kinds of people in the city. So because of that, it's not a story because it's missing those key elements that we find in stories. Remember, think about your five-finger retell. Characters, setting, beginning, middle, end, problem, solution. Okay, the next one. How does the poet create an image of a crowded city street using words? Okay, I want you to look back and see if there's something you can find that the author used. Okay, for me, it was that they're explaining people in all different places. So they're walking fast or slow. People are on the sidewalk. People are on the bus. They're passing. They're on the subway. They're riding taxis. Since they're describing many different places and there's people in all of them, I create this image in my head of that there's people everywhere. And when we see people everywhere, we can use that as crowded. And we see those things together. Okay, so which of Zhang Mi's homes is more like the place described in this poem? Her old home in Korea or her new one in the United States? What one did it describe? Which one did it make most connections to? I agree. It connects more to the United States. It seems like her life in Korea is pretty calm and quiet, and she's kind of overwhelmed by the city when she gets to Boston. So I connected with that with the United States. Okay, we're not going to create the Venn diagram, but I'm happy that you were able to make those connections to the poetry today. And I hope that you're able to connect this to our essential question, which is why is it hard to adapt to a new culture?